Okay, it says left half horizontal asymptote. So I'm going to find the limit of f as x approaches negative infinity. So I need to compare terms they're adding again. But now I have to remember this is e to a negative number that becomes more negative. This is 5. This is e to a negative number that becomes more negative. I don't really worry about the 2 and the 3 yet. So raise your hand, please, if you can tell me on this line right here, what am I going to write? Hands up. It's better. Let's wait for a couple more. Let's go ahead and Johnson.
We can just write 3x over
3 points for Hannah. So this is actually the trick they're hoping that, it's the trap they're setting for you that they'll hope you'll step into. Because x is approaching negative infinity, I always say that just because it sounds more humorous than, anyway, moving on. I don't know what they want, I just know they write really challenging tests. So they do want to verify that you know it. There is that. So anyway, when x is approaching, if x were approaching positive infinity, this would grow very rapidly. And it would become much larger than the positive 5. So it would be the dominant term. Because they switched it on you and have x approaching negative infinity, the reverse happens. This becomes very, very close to 0. So this gets really close to 0. Plus 5 gets really close to 5. If that's bothering some of you, please.
So if it was like ln of x, would you pick that one because it was going, it's going?
Let's write that down, Paige. So like if f looked like this, so like ln of x plus what, Paige?
Plus 5, I guess. Or
5.
3x.
If this were the example and x were approaching negative infinity, we really wouldn't be able to do anything because you can't plug in a negative here. The natural log of a negative is undefined. So we would just be, like they probably won't even ask it. Like we just have to say there isn't anything on the left half. There's no horizontal asymptote, there's no function, there's no nothing. Because you can't take the natural log of the negative. Hannah, please.
So, the reason that 3 to the x is growing really, really small instead of really, really big is because we're plugging in negative infinity to the x, and that way we're getting smaller. And are we trying to pick the number that's like growing the fastest, or are we trying to pick like the biggest number?
Gotcha. We're just trying to say we're going to add two things together. As we add them, do they kind of always make some sort of significant contribution, or do we encounter a situation where one of them starts to make, doesn't really make any difference? And what happens is 5 is always 5, but e to a negative number gets to be really close to 0. So 5 plus really close to 0 is not 5, but it's really close to 5. So the 5 is dominating. That's what when we're making that comparison, that's what we're looking for. 2 more for Hannah. So this correctly would have been, I gotta hurry this really quick. This correctly would have been just 5 over 8, and then we're done. The limit is 5 over 8.
So it's almost as if you're finding as x approaches 0. I mean, I know it's not, but like in a way it has the same kind of.
I wouldn't want to say that, but I do know why you're saying it. Like you're saying the result seems similar to when x was approaching 0. If x were approaching 0, we'd get another result. It's different. So yeah. Hey, listen before the bell's going to ring. Don't leave. Listen. So you do not need to do the yellow yet. If you want to get started on the yellow because you want to get, I don't know, every time I make an assignment, it's going to take some amount of time to get it done. So you're going to work on the yellow. There are several in the yellow I'm sure you could do just fine. There might be a couple where you get kind of tripped up a little bit. We're kind of in an odd place where there's not that much more to talk about the yellow, to be fair, but I didn't feel like I should assign it yet. Next time we'll move into maybe a little more yellow, but also the next topic. So anyway, good job, you guys. So the pink be done by Wednesday. So.